Hello, and welcome to Drop the Bowtie. Today we'll discuss the latest rage, credit card surcharges. In these times of margin compression and inflation, it's understandable that dealers are looking for new revenue sources. One popular target is assessing a fee for accepting credit card payments. Why would dealers want to do that? Well, accepting credit cards is not without cost. The cost of accepting credit cards is called the interchange fee, and it can add up. More on that later. Is assessing a surcharge for accepting credit cards legal? Well, that depends on where you live. As of this recording, 7 states expressly permit such surcharges, 5 expressly prohibit the practice, and the remaining 38 are silent on the matter. Even within the states that prohibit credit card surcharges, court decisions have brought the prohibition into question. So, it seems like the trend is to allow credit card surcharges, but subject to certain considerations. Generally speaking, to assess a credit card surcharges in those states where it's legal, dealerships should carefully consider transparency, advertising, and limits on the amount of the surcharge. With regards to transparency, consumers should be made aware of the surcharge before they're expected to pay it. Learning about the surcharge on the receipt is not going to cut it. Respecting advertising, any advertised or posted prices should include the surcharge, even if you allow a discount for paying cash. And with respect to limits on the surcharge, we've seen the states that allow surcharges limit them to a set percentage, such as 2% or 5%, or to no more than what the merchant pays to accept the specific credit card involved. While all of this may sound simple on paper, the devil, as usual, is in the details. By way of example, let's look at the credit card surcharge law that went into effect in New York in 2024. New York dealerships can collect a credit card surcharge and comply with the new law by one of 3 methods. 1. Clearly list both credit price and cash price before the point of sale. In the repair context, this would logically mean on a repair order and the invoice. 2. List the higher price that includes the cost of accepting credit cards and offer a discount for cash payment. Or 3. Charge the same price for cash and credit transactions. As a practical matter, the first option may not allow dealerships to recover the full cost of their credit card processing charges. Under the New York law, any surcharge for credit purchases must not exceed the actual charge imposed on the dealership for accepting the credit card. The problem here is that not all credit cards charge the same interchange fee, often called the swipe fee. Last year, the average interchange fee was 2.24%. Cards generally charged between 1.15 and 3.15%, plus a per-transaction fee of a nickel or a dime. Complying with option 1, then, would require the dealership to limit its credit card surcharge to the lowest interchange rate related to the many credit cards it accepts. If that interchange rate is 1.15%, but most credit cards tendered have a higher interchange rate, dealerships are leaving money on the table. There's also the risk that a customer could present a credit card with an interchange rate lower than the dealership's credit card surcharge rate, which would put the dealership in violation of the law. In addition to the revenue limitations and legal risks, this approach would require dealerships to post 2 prices for every item for which it accepts credit cards. Merely posting or advertising the lower cash price is forbidden. Always and clearly post and advertise the higher credit card price as a total of dollars and cents, not as a percentage. New York does not expect its consumers to be able to do math. Because of the revenue limitations and legal risks associated with this approach, dealerships should consult with their legal counsel before adopting it. Option 2. Dealerships can comply with the New York law by raising their prices for those goods and services for which they accept credit cards, and then offering a discount for cash. This avoids the obligation of posting and advertising two separate prices. While the New York credit card surcharge law is silent on the issue, there appears to be no limit on the amount by which dealerships may increase their prices to recover interchange fees. Dealerships remain free to adjust their prices for any number of reasons. But if a dealership wants to limit its price increase, in this instance, to the actual average interchange rate it historically pays, that rate can easily be obtained either from the dealership's own records or from its merchant services provider. But even with this approach, there are risks. This is because not all items on a repair order can be discounted. For example, used battery fees, used tire fees, and emissions testing are fees that go to local or state governments, and they expect every penny. This means that if you discount those items and still have to remit the full charge, you're effectively over-discounting your own goods and services, which gets us right back to square one. But wait, there's more. Sales tax is charged on the discounted amount. Discounts are applied to the original quote, and not all elements of that quote are discountable, so your sales tax amount could be inaccurate. And it's unlikely your technology provider can even program the DMS to make the necessary calculations. It can come close, but penny accuracy is beyond the current state of the art. Your customers don't care so long as they see the full amount of the discount on their receipts. But the government might care. In New York, local governments are authorized to enforce the law and retain 100% of the funds recovered through fines. So if every credit card transaction is off by just 1 cent, the enforcing government could assess and keep a fine of $500 per transaction. This is why we advise you to consult with local counsel before instituting a process to recover credit card fees. Option 3. Without a doubt, the third option is the easiest. Do nothing. Just post, advertise, and charge the same price for cash and credit transactions. Note that this equal pricing does not mean your dealership can't raise its prices to capture the cost of accepting credit cards, just that it isn't required to offer a cash discount if it does so. This approach would not require any changes to the repair order and invoice forms dealerships are already using. Here are the big takeaways. 1. Like all merchants that accept credit cards for payment, dealers are eager to recover that cost. 2. Although a majority of states are silent on the topic, the trend is toward greater regulation of the practice. 3. Even where the practice is not prohibited, credit card issuers such as Visa and MasterCard have their own limits on what surcharges can be assessed, so check with your providers. 4. Transparency, advertising, and limitations on the amount charged are key to the practice being deemed acceptable at your dealership. And 5, the issue is governed by state law, so be sure to confer with your local council and state dealer association before implementing a credit card surcharge. The cost for being wrong could be very, very high, especially in New York. For Drop the Bow Tie, I'm Jim Ganther. Thanks for watching.